Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is for you. This is The Den, episode number 16, our post game coverage of the Bears' victory versus the Los Angeles Rams. I am Steve, aka Bronx, and I'm joined by.
Matt, AK Nemo, we're back, episode 16. The Bears pull out kind of a close one. Was a little scared there for a while. It was family weekend up here, so I was walking around campus with my parents with my phone out. My dad was like, "Put that fucking phone away," and I was like, "Make me." Just kidding. I didn't say that. I put the phone in my pocket. I just listened to the audio. But they had me a little scared there, but we pulled it out.
We did. How was your day today, Matt?
It was a little stressful. I hate my Tuesdays and Thursdays. Got to be up at 8. I have classes from 9 until like 2:30, just straight, and then just homework. So, but it's almost Friday. We did it. And then, of course, if you're of the legal age, in your state of or your area of residence, some may drink this weekend. Obviously, I will not because I'm not of age. How was your day?
My day was good. Just a regular work day for me, and then Dom has homecoming tomorrow, which is going to be kind of interesting. So he got TP'd tonight. The
I
cheerleaders came.
forgot about that, bro.
It was a mob. So like on my ring camera, it's kind of funny. I might post it on the Den, Twitter or X. Sorry, on the
I
video because it starts out there's like a few cheerleaders that come up the stairs and start doing it, and then all of a sudden there's like 30 of them. It's like a swarm, and there's literally toilet paper flying everywhere. It's all over our cars. So shout out to the St. Edward's cheerleaders who came through and made it an awesome experience for Dom. This is his first time getting uh, TP'd for him because obviously the last time was Geo's eighth grade year
Uh,
that they DP'd the house. Dom was playing in third grade, but it was obviously for Geo. So to made Dom feel a little bit special, that he got to have that happen. But it's going to be interesting for me because Geo was basically told uh, this past week that he is starting both ways this week. So
Oof.
he's starting on offense and starting on defense, and I won't be able to really watch it because I coach Dom's St. Ed's team, so I have to be there for Dom's football game. So my wife's gonna go there for about catch the first 45 minutes to an hour because Geo plays at 5, Dom plays at 6, and then she's gonna rush over. So she at least gets to experience a little bit of Geo starting both ways. But yeah, the day's pretty good. The weekend's gonna be even better. Uh, Sunday, I will be at O'Hare International Airport, flying to Rome, Italy, for the week. Then Saturday we fly from Rome to London, and then we watch the game Sunday, and then I come back Tuesday. So I have figured out that I can use my phone to record the podcast. So I don't know. Maybe
Valid.
I'll be able to do it. Maybe I'll be able to do it. I think from our Airbnb in Rome,
Mhm.
you can see the Colosseum.
Wow,
So I
that's
think I'm gonna
fucking
figure
sick.
out a way to
That's fucking
make that the
sick.
backdrop. If not, it'll just be in an Airbnb in Italy. But I figured out a way to. Hopefully, I'll find out a way. But I can record it from my phone, which will be good, so we won't miss a beat
Oh,
there.
yeah.
But yeah, that brings us into our first segment of the podcast, our game summary, our game recap. Um, 24-18 Bears win.
Mhm.
Um, just a quick little breakdown of the game as a whole, and then we'll dive into a little bit more detailed further down. But the first half was all Rams, right?
Yeah.
We came, we went into the break with a lead.
I would say, what was it,
Um,
9-13 at the half?
no, I think it was 10-6, or yeah, 10-6 or 10-9.
Yeah, it was all field goals, right? No, it was 10 to
Yeah,
9. It was 10 to
minus
9 because they had 3 field goals and we had a field goal and a touchdown.
yeah, but it felt like if I felt like it was all Rams, right? Like
Mhm.
Aside from the Montez Sweat forced sack fumble on Stafford, which led to the Roshan TD, it felt like it was all Rams and that Stafford was having no problems, none at all, finding receivers wide open all over the place. At
Yeah,
least that's what appeared to me. I don't know what his. I didn't even pay attention to what his final stat line was. I don't think he hit
I can look
300,
it
but
up
it
right
felt like he threw for 350. But I think he only threw for like 230,
now. 224.
224. I was close.
Yeah.
Uh, but it felt like he was moving the ball with ease, and they
Yeah.
just couldn't figure out a way to score touchdowns. Um, but yeah, I have on here Stafford tore up the Bears in the middle of the field. It felt like there was lots of holes in the middle of the field that he was just exploiting.
Absolutely.
The second half saw the Bears pick up their rushing attack, but that's mainly because they were playing ahead, right? They had the lead. After they took the lead, they never gave it up. So it's good to see that the run game's moving. Um, Torrey Taylor is continuing to prove me wrong, right? I said, why are we
Let's
wasting a fourth
go.
round
Let's
pick?
go.
Why are we wasting a fourth round pick on a punter? But he's proven everybody else who agree with me in the first place wrong. It was announced he obviously won special teams player of the week with 3 of his 5 punts landing inside of the 20, including his very last punt, which pinned them down at the 8-yard line. Couldn't have asked for a better punt in that situation. There's what, a minute and 20 seconds left in the game, and he pins them in the 8 at their own 8, maybe just over a minute. Uh, but yeah, he's definitely shining, and there's definitely a reason why he was taken in the fourth round. You got anything about the game as a whole, maybe that you noticed?
Um, no, the biggest thing that I just noticed that we specifically touched on was right. Stafford's missing his two best wide receivers, but you don't
Hmm.
need a good wide. You just need someone to catch the ball. I remember texting you
Yeah,
like he's cooking us, right? And they couldn't find the end zone, and I don't think that had to do with Stafford. So let's just say, I think we're lucky that we were able to get the run game going like we did. I don't think it would have definitely been a lot closer. Another thing is like Tory Taylor, like I talked about. I know I'm kind of like meat riding a little bit. Pause. But for real, I saw some weird statistic, not weird statistic, a pretty interesting statistic where his 5 punts between his 5 punts, he single-handedly raised the Bears' chances of winning by like 14%. Like his punts alone, right? Like the first punt, they had like an 8% chance to win, and then afterwards it was 10%. And after the last punt, that that might seem minute, but when you're talking about one dude who's doing one thing and doing one thing while giving the ball to the other team, yet he's still
yeah,
raising our win percentage is a crazy tool to have. And I'm not going to sit here and lie. Could we maybe have grabbed him in the fifth or sixth round? Yeah, probably. But I mean, was it worth the risk? I don't know. Looking at our O line, maybe. But Torrey Taylor, yeah, great game in terms of influence on the game. But yeah, nothing really other than what we covered here.
I will shout out once again the Bears media social media team because they put together a video highlighting Tory Taylor's day, and it's pretty funny. Well, not funny. It's pretty cool, pretty good. I will say, for me, that stat that you just mentioned, um, I would say that's kind of skewed, and only the reason I would say that is because of how good our defense is. Like if he's pinning them back, and we have, let's say, the damn Rams defense, or coming up the Carolina Panthers defense, does that number actually stay that high, or is it actually lower? Like, does the defense have any bearing in that number?
I don't know. Uh, I think yes, but it's a ratio, right? Even if you
Mhm.
have the
Fair.
number one defense in the league, if the offense starts with the ball, their opponent's If they start the ball on their opponent's 30-yard line, their chances are going to be significantly higher than if you
Mhm,
started on
mhm.
the other one. So while sure, let's take the number 32 defense, probably Carolina. I don't know, most definitely. And have them defending a drive from the Rams 20 versus the Bears 20. Yeah, the numbers might look a little bit different, but not enough to the point where you can undermine
Right. Yeah.
what he did. I do agree with
Okay.
you. It's slightly skewed, but it's not like obscene if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was just trying to go into depth about that because that number is actually really, really high. Um, but moving on, our player spotlights. We're gonna dive into sort of the names and the positions that we saw for our Bears this week, this past week. But yeah, our offensive standouts, our quarterback's performance. I felt like today, or not today, Sunday, he looked more like a game manager. He looked comfortable. He
He looked
didn't
like
take very
JJ
many
McCarthy
risks,
at Michigan is what he looked like.
but he at least threw the ball for over 100 yards. Um, but yeah, he didn't take any risks. He made two incredible throws in the second half. One of those was to DJ for the touchdown, put it in the perfect spot, and then the other one was in the second half was to Cole Kmet across the middle, where he was like he put it just over the outstretched arm of the linebacker, and sort of that's why he was taken number one. Like he can make those throws. But yeah, he finishes the day 17 to 23 for 157 and one touchdown. Our running backs, what a game for DeAndre Swift. This is the reason we signed him. Now, granted, to me, you could take it with a grain of salt because the Rams are so bad defensively, but that's what he should do against those teams, right? He had 16 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown, but he also added 7 catches for 72 yards. So when he had like 165 all-purpose yards,
Something like that.
which
Something insane.
which is which is what we expected signing him this offseason. Roshan Johnson, 7 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown. That was my player to watch. Um, and then receivers, Cole Komet had 3 catches for 34 yards on 3 targets. DJ 3 receptions for 22 yards with a touchdown on 6 targets. Keenan Allen 3 catches for 19 yards on 3 targets, and Roma Dunze 1 catch for 10 yards on 3 targets. Obviously, when you have the run game going like we had, he's not going to drop back very many times. Um, Shockingly, we ran the ball more than we passed against the Rams. Does some of that have to do with having the lead, or are we actually committing to the run game, an area of struggle, an area that is much needed for Caleb? What do you think?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm reading notes right now. What the fuck did you just say? What
I
the fuck did
asked
you
you.
just say?
We ran the ball
Uh-huh.
more than we threw the ball
Yeah.
on Sunday against the Rams. Do you think that's a product of having the lead, or do you think that's a product of us actually committing to the run
I think it's a product of playing one of the worst rushing defenses in the fucking league.
game?
And I've been thinking about this since we beat them. I'm happy that our run game. I'm happy for Roshan. I'm happy for Swift. But this doesn't mean shit. To be honest with you, sure we were able to do this. Great. We finally broke out the run game. We weren't able to do this against a team that has a worse ranked rushing defense. Probably not after this week, but last week we weren't able to do it again, and we did it against these guys, and we did it very successfully. I will add, but it shows no implication that we can do this against a top 15 team, like God forbid a top 10 team that we need to play. So um, I think the run game had to do with the fact that they weren't getting to the end zone, right? I think the fact that right in the first half we saw them kick 2 field goals that I think right as a coach when you see the other team only get a field goal you're more inclined to be less aggressive in terms of like, all right, we can make this up in one score, right? Even if they kick two field goals, we can make that up in one score. So yes, I think it was a mix of them not being worried about being down right away, especially when they went into the half with the 4 point lead. So technically could be two possession, right? If they stay on the track, which they did. Um, so I think it's somewhere in the middle, but leaning towards the fact that, and props to, at least Eberflus for having balls that I don't think he was really scared of the Rams at any point in this game until maybe the fourth quarter, those last few minutes. So
Yeah, I agree. Defensive heroes. So basically, our defensive players who made impactful plays. Jaquan Brisker was incredible on Sunday. He led the team in tackles and came away with a sack and an interception. Should have been two if he just reestablishes himself,
yeah,
but he's there to make the play. Um, so he was just all over the field. Probably his best game as a Chicago Bear.
paid
Uh,
steroids,
key
right?
turnovers, key turnovers, sweat sack fumble, which led to a Roshan Johnson touchdown, and obviously we just stated Jaquan Brisker's interception to seal the game, um, and get the Bears dub. But moving on, I don't think much has to be said about those um, stats and sort of who stood out for us for the offense and defensive side of the ball. Our coaching strategy, our next segment. Offensively, we finally, right, albeit it is the Rams, it is a bad defensive team. We finally establish a run game, and we sort of see when the pressure is removed from Caleb's shoulders, and we have that complementary run game. This team will continue to be successful. We actually ran the ball, like I said, more than we threw the ball. We turned Caleb into a game manager as opposed to having to go out there and throw the ball 50 times in a game, uh, which is hard for any quarterback, let alone a rookie. So to see that uh, transpire is a sign or a step in the right direction moving forward. Any thoughts on what you saw on the coaching side for offense?
I think for the first time, listen, do I think the coaching strategy? I think the coaching strategy was less about, you know, being smart, I guess, this game, and more so about doing what was working, right? In every game we've played so far, we've had struggles, both offensive tact. I mean, every offensive tactic, throwing it short, throwing it long, except I guess against the
Mhm.
Colts, we kept finding Rome. But right, we've had trouble throwing it deep, throwing it short, fucking screen passes. Don't even get me started. And the run game has been abysmal. So I think the coaching strategy was smart, especially on offense. Um, in terms of just doing what worked, right? For once, they
Mhm.
just saw, fuck it, feed him the rock, right? Swift is getting 8 yards of
Yeah.
carry, whatever, 6 yards of carry on this one, right? So I think the offensive strategy was just doing what worked for once, and that has less to do about. I don't think that the coaches don't know to do that. I just think this is the first instance where we truly had something that was working for us that we could keep going to the hole for. And then on defense, I don't know what it was. If it was like some weird like man's, I think we just kind of got. I don't want to say lazy, but like you said earlier, there was some big. I don't know if they were zone or whatever the hell was going on. Just big holes where Stafford was just absolutely just bombing. I think there was one driver I literally texted you back to back like 35-yard passes, one in the dead center of the field, one on the left sideline. That that's 60 yards in two plays. Doesn't waste any time. So, like I said,
Mhm.
I think we kind of didn't get complacent, but we underestimated what Stafford can do. But as long as somebody can catch the ball, he's going to hit him right in the hands. So, um, but
Yeah, and
overall, yeah. Sorry, just to finish, just our defense is just good
no, keep
enough
going.
that at the end of the day, those don't matter. But against a team that isn't the LA Rams, I do think those matter. So we got to lock that down.
Yeah, defensively, we got to Stafford 3 times. We sacked him 3 times, and we forced what should have been 3 turnovers, but obviously it was just 2. Like we mentioned before, Brisker is deemed to be an ineligible receiver. So his first interception in the first half doesn't count, which led to a Rams field goal. But the sack fumble led to a touchdown, and obviously the interception was a game-ending interception. Defensively, I felt like I felt like they didn't want to give up a big play, so it was like drop the safeties back and just okay, Stafford, if you're gonna beat us, you're gonna have to beat us with either like
Yeah.
a 25-yard throw in the middle, but then we were stingy in the red zone. So it's like, sure, we were daring them to get to the red zone because I felt like all game long, we stopped them once we got there, right? We held them to field goals. Um, so I think they played more so not to lose than being super aggressive and because but Eberflus never really blitzes that often to begin with, and he didn't really blitz that often against Stafford because Stafford can beat you if you blitz. He's going to know exactly where he's going to put the ball.
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of why they just sat back and played everything in front of them. And in the NFL, nobody wants to give up deep plays. I mean, we saw it tonight in the damn Falcons.
Buccaneers game.
Buccaneers game, the last play of the game is what a 60, no, 50 something yard catch where the guy catches it up the middle and he torches everybody.
Mhm.
Um, and that's the sort of plays that the Bears don't want to give up. I felt like it was sort of like a soft zone that they played all day long against the Rams. Anything else you wanted to add on the defensive side?
No, just that I think, especially towards the end of the game, right when we needed to lock down, I did exactly what we
Mhm.
said, right? The no matter how vet they are, right, how elusive they are, no quarterback wants to get pressured, and no quarterback wants to lose
Yeah.
yards, and our defense did a great job when given the opportunity to, especially our D line, to put that pressure on Stafford that led to mistakes, that led to issues, that led to that interception at the end, right? I think he got blitzed and just tried to fucking bomb it, if I remember correctly. Or not
Yeah.
bomb it, but he tried to get it out quick
He got
as he
hit.
was getting
He
hit.
got
Yeah,
hit.
as he was getting
Yeah.
hit, and we get the interception. So, um, I just agree with what you said, right? We were playing too safe when I think the only thing that's kind of concerning to me is that shows that our coaching staff may not have faith in our offense to score, which, based on our track record this season, is understandable. But at the same time, if you're gonna do some shit, if you're gonna try something, let it be against the Rams, right? They have one of the worst defenses in the
Mhm.
league. So, if there's ever a
Mhm.
game to be like, let your defense fry, and if your offense can't score, there's bigger issues at play. It was this game. But I mean, I
Yeah.
felt like our defense did a good job with what they were told to do. I think it felt more on play
Mhm.
calling than it did on individual play.
Good point. Moving on, our next segment, implications of this win. What does this victory mean for the Bears season? I just think it means literally that we're headed in the right direction especially um, with the run game being improved. But our question mark is, can we sustain this run game? Can Swift continue to be a playmaker? Caleb once again continues to grow week by week and shows his willingness to grow. And what I noticed, especially in this game, was his wantingness and almost to a fault. I wouldn't say a fault, but if I felt like every pass he dropped back, he stepped up in the pocket. Like that was
Mhm.
his emphasis this week that hey, I can get up in the pocket and I can deliver a pass as opposed to uh rolling out and using what he's really talented at, finding people on the run. He only did that a few times when he was basically forced to. So I just see growth each week with him. Um, and then this game is the game, like one of the games we're supposed to win, right? We come into the game favored. They're without two of their best playmakers. This is the game we're supposed to win, and we did it. Um, so for me, that's just what this victory means for the Bears currently. Can we sustain our run game, win the game we're supposed to win, and continue to watch Caleb grow and get better week to week? Um, Impact on the playoffs. I don't even know why I put that on here, but it's far too early to start talking about the playoffs, right? We're 4 weeks in, moving on to week 5. But this is the part of the schedule where we need to stack wins. Um, because, and I wrote down, we have to stack wins early in in this schedule if we want a chance at even sniffing the playoffs, especially with our division playing as well as they are. Right? Green Bay's, I don't know what their record is. I know
2-2,
uh, 2-2. Uh, Minnesota's what, 4-0,
4-0.
and who am I missing? Detroit's 3-1.
Yeah, it's not looking
So
good
I
for a
mean,
schedule.
we have to stack the wins uh, until we get to our divisional opponent games, which is the second half of the season. Um, yeah. Uh, And then the next sort of chat we want to chat about or talk about is the comparison with the Rams and the current trajectories, right? For us, we're on a far better trajectory. I wrote down we have a young quarterback who's making strides with a run game that's finally, hopefully, turned a corner and a top 10 defense versus an old quarterback on the decline with an average run game and a below average defense. So I feel like we're going up and they're coming down.
Yeah,
That's just sort of the trajectory I see this team on. We're not really like, I think Caleb's on a linear path right now. I think everybody else is sort of like a wave. So we'll see moving forward. But yeah, you got anything to add?
just that, to double down. I mean, this win is important. The fact that it was as close as it was kind of, excuse me, scares me, right? Because, right,
Mm,
look, I'm looking at our schedule right now, right? Our next four: Panthers, Jaguars, or I'm just gonna go until we reach divisional opponents: Panthers, Jaguars, Commanders, Cardinals, Patriots. Gonna play the Packers.
Stack the wins now.
I personally think we should have beat the Colts. So we have to pick that win up somewhere else. It's gonna have to come against the Jaguars, the Commanders, or maybe the Cardinals. I don't know. The Cardinals have been playing better these last few weeks. Right.
Mm,
And they beat the Rams. Not the Rams were good, but the Rams beat the 49ers, right? The 49, I don't want to fucking hear it. The Cardinals play I've been playing all right. And if the Kyler Murray to MHJ connection stays alive, I mean, I don't know. I think we outclass them though. I agree. It's just, you know,
there.
I, with how good the Vikings are looking and the Lions are looking to be get down to brass tacks in the playoffs, I don't think we can make it. Um, obviously it's possible. I'm not counting us out now, but I'm saying just to be weary, right? Because I had us beating the Vikings in one of the games. Truly, now that I'm seeing how the Vikings are playing, I actually think the only divisional game we can possibly win is when we play the Packers at Soldier Field. I think we lose both to the Lions, and at this trajectory, both to the Vikings. But obviously, like you said, not important. But stacking the wins. Yeah, what you just said about the Rams trajectory, bro. You look back at the preseason rankings. That is literally exactly what I fucking said, and you called me crazy. All I have to say though, mega props to the Rams because they did what a lot of teams can't do and don't have the balls to do. Right? They sold out to get that win, that Lombardi
Oh yeah.
Trophy, and they got it though. Right?
Hmm.
So props to them. I literally said, right, we're talking about a team that's got an older quarterback. Both their best receivers are out. One of the receivers is getting older, and yeah, he's had back-to-back seasons with injuries. So you kind of
Mm.
covered all my bases. Just win. I mean, win, 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 and I mean, I don't know. I think there's a good chance we might end up 8-9. I fear, even though I said 10-7. That's
We'll
fucking it.
see. I think I was the only one that was below 500. Was I 8-9 or was I 9-8?
You were 9-8. I think. I think our only difference was that
Was
you
this?
was the Rams, I think. I think you
Yeah,
said
I picked them to lose.
the Rams, and I said we would beat them, but I also said we would beat the Colts. I think I had this is what it probably checked out to
We
be:
both did.
win, loss, win, 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 loss, win, 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 and that's what, 7? And then I think I said
We split with Minnesota. We split
7,
with
8, yeah, whatever. Whatever it boiled down to is, that Colts win
lose both.
has to get picked up
Yes.
somewhere else in the season, or else
Yeah.
my predictions are
Yeah.
cooked.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Our next segment. How did our PT Dubs, our players to watch, do? I'll start out with mine. Offensively, I chose Roshan Johnson, and basically, he had 7 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown, but he was utilized exactly as I wanted him to be utilized, right? I said it in the pregame uh, podcast. I wanted to see him on short down or short yardage downs, short yardage situations, and I wanted to see him on the goal line, which he was in for both. He scores a touchdown on the goal line, and he's in on the third and shorts, second and shorts. And I thought he played a very, very key role on especially on third down and shorts, but just throughout the game. Those 7 carries were crucial carries at crucial times throughout the game, which I'll talk a little bit later. But I kind of wondering what the hell they're going to do with Khalil Herbert. But that's besides the point. Defensively, I chose TJ Edwards. I wanted to see if he could take the ball away, because we had mentioned that Stafford likes to throw the ball, and he's risky with it. He's a gunslinger. He throws it all over the place. But he finished second on the team in tackles. He had 9 tackles, 1 TFL. It was probably one of his more quiet games, and in general, a quiet game from our linebacking position, with the middle of the field being peppered all game long. So yeah, I think my players watched so far did okay, especially with Roshan scoring a touchdown and being utilized exactly how I wanted him utilized. How'd yours do, Matt?
So I had DJ Moore. We'll start with DJ Moore. He did get the touchdown finally, but
Mhm.
once again, and I think most of our receivers were a little underutilized this week. When you have Swift
Mhm.
going for 72 yards, and 7 catches on 7 targets. But I just
Mhm.
felt once again, I don't know if it's like you said, right? We were pounding the run game. I don't know if it's that Moore's getting more coverage than he's used to, or he's not the first option, or what. But
Mhm.
he did get the touchdown this week, but only goes 3 receptions for 22 yards. So nothing to write home about. I wouldn't say he played bad, but I don't. This guy's got as far as I'm aware, a C on his chest. So um, I was like, he is our second captain, correct? Like
Mhm.
that's what
He
I
is one of them. Yes.
thought. I was expecting him to after kind of always been talking about how he's been upset, not necessarily with any player, just kind of how the passing has been. And you saw, I don't know if you saw the photo after the touchdown or maybe the drive before the touchdown. Caleb Williams was like on his knee, like talking to DJ Moore on the sideline, which was good to see that they got that connection. And I don't think there's, people are trying to claim that this is some sort of trouble. I don't think it's a trouble. I think it's just a matter of,
Yeah.
of a team trying to get their footing. And as we've said, right, it's a
Yeah.
stacked wide receiver room, and I think DJ Moore is a stand up enough guy, if that's whatever you want to call it. That uh, I know Keenan Allen won't, but what I was worried about at the beginning of the year was with this much star power in one room, is anyone going to get butthurt when they don't get the ball? And every now and then you see a little bit of DJ Moore kind of show that, but he pulls it back in.
Especially not
So
against the Rams, but against the Colts.
yeah,
Uh, it was brought up to him in the post game conference, and he was like, "Yeah, I went back and I watched it," and he's like, "I didn't realize, you know, how bad my body language was." He's like, "I talked to Caleb, I talked to everybody, and blah blah blah." Yeah, it, I would say he's had horrible quarterbacks, with the exception of Cam Newton,
for
throughout
what,
his whole career.
2 years? Not even.
I think
I
he
don't know
only
how
had
many
Cam for one.
and
His
that was when
rookie.
he was becoming shit anyways.
Well, yeah. So he's had bad, like he's dealt with nothing but bad quarterbacks throughout his career. He builds a nice little camaraderie or connection with Justin, and the Bears are like, yeah, we want Caleb, we want the generational talent, and now he's kind of going through growing pains. To me, I don't think there is anything there, but uh, it's bound to happen, right? These are grown men who love the game, are getting paid a lot of money to play, and they get frustrated when things aren't going as they should. Um, and he's a leader, so I really I don't think too much into body language. I don't really read too much into body language, and I learned that uh, being such a huge Jay Cutler fan because people were on his ass about body language throughout his whole entire career. That I just finally was like, you know what, fuck it, I don't care about body language. Just show me what you're gonna do on the field.
Yeah. No, yeah,
All that other stuff can take care of itself.
right. As a competitor, and I'm sure you agree, it's a matter of it's like, at the end of the day, you can talk all the team bullshit you want, and obviously everyone cares about their team and wants their team to succeed. But deep down, you also want yourself to succeed too, and it doesn't come from a selfish place. It comes from like, I'm not playing to my full potential,
Mhm.
place. So, um, I don't really think there's any trouble there. Just some kinks iron out. And then on my defense, I had Tremaine Edmonds, kind of like you said. You took someone who got a decent amount of tackles, but um, Tremaine Edmonds didn't do that much this game. I think he had here. I'm looking at the stats right now. Uh, I was literally just had this pulled up and I don't. He had two total tackles. Both of them were solos. One tackle for loss. That's it. Um, like you said, our defense was kind of put in a tough position. We had people dropping back way deep, giving them the middle of the field. Um,
Mhm.
I definitely saw Tremaine Edmonds in there once or twice on those pressures, on the times that we were attacking. What's his face, Stafford, but kind of a quiet game from our linebackers. Our
Yeah.
rushers kind of took over our D line. So not a bad game, not not the worst weekly player spotlight pick or whatever the fuck we're calling it that I've ever.
Mhm.
But not our linebackers kind of just had a meh game. But our as an overall like
Yes.
I always like to say right, the defensive player is kind of hard to pick because a player could have you know zero um, defensive stats. You know what I mean? Like you could have two tackles and one pressure, but he still, had an important role to play in that game. Whereas offense, if a receiver doesn't catch the ball all a game, he didn't do shit, right? I think
Yeah.
it's quantify defensive stats, but I think our whole defense played well, our linebackers included. So solid game all around.
Mhm. Yeah, moving on to our next segment, our player of the game, our X factor. This could have gone to a few players. I'm going to give you the opportunity to pick one if
Yeah.
you don't agree. It could have gone to Swift. It could have gone to Taylor. But for me, my choice was Jaquan Brisker. 12 tackles. He led the team. Eight of those tackles were solo. He had a sack, two TFLs, and an interception, which could have been two. But clearly, to me, this was his best game as a professional, his best game as a Chicago Bear. And the broadcast was mentioning his name, it seemed like every damn play on defense. For me, that was my play of the game. I don't know if you agree or if you want to name maybe one for you.
As much as I was texting when I was like, Tory Taylor player of the game, and he
Yeah.
did play really well and was a key part. I think it would be just an absolute travesty, just a disservice to any true Bears fans out there to not give Swift a shout out. Right? We're talking
Hmm.
about a guy almost 100 rushing yards, averaging 5 with a touchdown long of 36. That big run he broke out for in I
Hmm.
think the third quarter, maybe third or four. I think it was the third. And then he's
30.
perfect. 7 for 7, 7 catches on 7 targets for 72 yards. This dude has more yards than almost our other three top receivers combined. That's Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, and DJ Moore. Honestly, one of if not the best games from a Bears running back that I've seen in quite some time. And you would take away a little bit of it from the fact that they played such a shitty defense, but this is really great confidence booster from him, and
Mhm.
I was very impressed. And looking at the stats, if he can do half of this against any other decent team in the league, that's a great fucking game in my book. And the fact that he did it against a team like this with these kind of numbers doesn't diminish it at all for me. So as much as I want to give it to Taylor because I've been you know um,
You're on the
talking him
Hunters
up.
bandwagon.
Yeah, I've been talking about, but really it'd be just a disservice not to give it to Swift. So for sure,
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift is my player of the week game.
Nice. Last and final segment, looking ahead, um, we have the Panthers next, and our challenge, or my challenge to this team, is to continue to build on the run game success. The Panthers defense, once again, I don't know how this is working out, but they're the 29th rated rush defense in the NFL. Like we had 32, 31, now we have 29. Um, we'll go into a lot more detail in our next episode about that and about the Panthers. But just some key areas of for improvement moving forward for this team. I wrote down pass blocking and picking up blitzes continues to be a problem. Caleb was sacked 3 times. Um, one of those was a sack fumble that fortunately we recovered. But this O line will continue to be talked about all year if they continue to produce mediocre results, if they continue to allow Caleb to get hammered week in and week out. I'm glad to see that he's taking less hits and he's getting rid of the ball faster, and he was given a few. I mean, we saw it. A few of the plays he was given time, and he made the play. So just give the kid some time, figure it out. I feel like this is going to be an ongoing conversation week in and week out. That this O line is just going to hopefully play a lot better, and then it should help that we have a decent run game moving forward so that the defense isn't just pinning their ears back and flying at Caleb, knowing damn well he's going to drop back and throw it 50 times like he did uh, against the Colts. Anything you want to touch on before we head off?
No, just I think next game. Obviously, we'll talk about it more, but seriously, going into it, next game is our big chance to really, I guess, try some stuff. Not try some stuff in a
Yes.
stupid way, like no Philly specials, but I think really try to iron out what we want to be going forward. Right? We already know our weaknesses, so let's try to iron out
Mhm.
what our strengths. Like we know what our strengths are in pieces, right? We know DJ Moore's a strength and Rome is a strength, but I want to see how we can better utilize them because that's been a big issue, right?
Mhm.
Even when we throw 50 times, we're not utilizing as efficiently as we can. So I just challenge the Bears. Obviously, like I said, we'll talk about it more, but just challenge the Bears to kind of try to iron out what they need to iron out against the worst team in the NFL. I mean, simply put.
I would say the Patriots are the worst, but
No,
that's combo. We'll face them later on in the year.
okay.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, subscribe there as well. Um, look forward to seeing you in episode 17 for our pregame coverage against the
Absolutely.
Carolina Panthers.
5, 10,
Um,
15, 17.
we'll catch you guys in the next one. We're out.